I died on the day they were happily celebrating as a family. When both my adopted sister and I were in a car accident, the first thing my mom did to me was a slap on my face. How could you not take better care of your little sister? Ellie needed a blood transfusion, and my mom called me while I was barely holding on to life. Ellie needs blood. Hurry and come give her a transfusion. Even if you die, make sure to give your blood before you go. As she wished, I died on my birthday. Today is my adopted sister Ellie's birthday. My mom organized a family outing to celebrate her. Mom walked ahead, arm in arm with Ellie, who wore a pale blue dress. Dad followed them, taking pictures. They looked like a perfectly happy family. I trailed behind, struggling with a pile of packed lunches and drinks, looking out of place. They seemed to have forgotten that today was also my birthday. Hurry up and get to the front, set up the tent, and lay everything out. Ellie's thirsty, and don't you dare mess up the cake, or you'll regret it. Why do you always drag your feet like you're half dead? I don't even know why I bothered having you. Mom glanced back at me, her eyes full of impatience. My hands hesitated for a moment as I carried the things, bitterness welling up inside me. This was my mother, my biological mother. I was kidnapped at 3 years old and taken to the mountains to be raised as a child bride. I worked the dirtiest, hardest jobs just for a piece of bread. When I returned home at 12, I thought I would be welcomed with unconditional love and affection, but all I got was disdain and cold stares. Look at the rags she's wearing. She's a disgrace compared to our Ellie. After all those years in the mountains, who knows if she can even be trained properly? I heard she was raised as a little bride. Who knows if she's even? Don't say that. No matter what, she's our biological daughter. Dad quickly cut her off. I kept my head down, biting my lip and clutching the sleeves of my patched-up clothes, not knowing what to do. Ellie stood on the staircase, dressed like a princess from a fairy tale, looking down at me. Then she ran into Mom's arms, her eyes filled with tears. Mom, now that my sister is back, are you going to abandon me? Mom held her close, tenderly stroking her hair. Ellie, you will always be Mommy's only little princess. At that moment, I realized that no one in this world would ever love me. Dad took my hand. Ellie, from now on, she's your sister Molly. Later I learned that Ellie was originally my name. When I was lost, Mom and Dad adopted her, gave her my name, and all the love that was supposed to be mine. How are you carrying the cake? You've knocked over the swan on top, and the frosting is smeared. Ellie needs this cake for her photos later. I bet you did this on purpose to ruin things for me, didn't you? You're such a curse. Mom gave me a hard shove, snapping me back to reality. That was when I noticed that Ellie's cake had been smeared by the picnic basket. Mom, it's okay. I know Molly didn't mean to. It's just too bad we can't use this cake for the pictures this year, especially since Ethan ordered it just for me. Ellie pouted as she clung to Mom's arm, looking a bit disappointed. Mom shot me a look of pure hatred, as if she wanted to carve out my flesh. I know you did this on purpose. You're just jealous that Ellie has such a good boyfriend like Ethan. How could you be so vile? If you don't find an identical cake by the end of day, I won't let you off the hook. Hearing this, I glanced around, feeling a bit helpless. Mom, we're in the suburbs. That bakery is in the city. Even if I rush there now, I might not be able to order it in time. Mom's face grew even angrier when she heard that. Then why are you still standing here? Are you trying to ruin Ellie's birthday by not getting her a cake? How can you be so cruel? But the cake was still edible. I glanced at my domineering mom and swallowed back my words. If Mom hadn't called me specifically today, I wouldn't have come home at all. I had hoped that someone might remember it was my birthday too, but instead, all I got was utter disappointment. After I left the campsite, I was heading toward the parking lot when Ellie's voice rang out behind me. Sis, you might as well not bother going. That's a custom cake, and with your salary, you probably couldn't even afford half of it. You'd just embarrass yourself. I glanced back at Ellie, who was standing there with her arms crossed, sneering at me, and I let out a small laugh. I wasn't planning on going anyway. I've got work to do at the office, so I'm heading back. Ellie was taken aback, but then her face twisted with anger. Molly, you've really grown bold after only working for 2 years, haven't you? If Mom finds out you didn't go get the cake and just ran back, she'll make you pay for it. I shot her a cold look. Do whatever you want. After all, she's only your mother. In the early days after returning to the Hollands, Ellie would often corner me when no one else was around. So what if you're the biological daughter? You still can't compare to me. I'm the one Mom and Dad cherish. What are you anyway? Just a mountain girl raised as a child bride, a born lowlife. Mom says you're nothing but filth. Ellie's words were like thorns that pierced my heart, and even after all these years I still couldn't pull them out. Molly, I'm about to compete on the international stage. Soon, everyone will know my name, while you'll always be stuck beneath me. I shrugged. Well, congratulations. I didn't want to engage with her any further, but Ellie wouldn't let it go. She grabbed my arm. Molly, what's your problem? Do you think being the biological daughter matters? Mom still hates you. Let me tell you, all of Mom and Dad's assets will be mine. You won't get a cent. I was growing tired of Ellie's sudden outburst outburst and nonsensical accusations, so I shook her hand off. Take it all if you want, I don't care. But then Ellie's expression turned sinister, and she suddenly pushed me hard. Before I could react, a truck sped past. I was thrown into the air and then landed heavily, rolling into the grass. I struggled to get up, feeling dizzy and disoriented, but when I looked down, I couldn't see any wounds on my body. The truck driver, horrified, briefly glanced back before speeding away. Ellie let out a sudden scream, and soon my parents came running. What's wrong, Ellie? What happened? Ellie was sitting on the ground, looking innocent and scared as she threw herself into Mom's arms. A truck just drove by and hit us, Mom. I'm so scared. When Mom noticed the small scrape on Ellie's hand, her face darkened, and she marched over to me, delivering a sharp slap. How could you not take better care of your little sister? Ellie's about to compete abroad, and if anything happens to her, I'll skin you alive. I felt a metallic taste in my mouth as dizziness overwhelmed me. Dad, seeing me with my head bowed, assumed I was upset and reached out to help me up, but Mom hurried him along. Don't worry about her. Let's get Ellie to the hospital first. With that, Dad scooped Ellie up and the three of them drove off to the hospital, without glancing back at me. My stomach churned, and I couldn't hold it in any longer. I vomited, staining the ground with blood. A warm trickle ran down my face, and when I touched it, my hand came away red. Suddenly it felt as though all the strength drained out of me, and I collapsed.